after each class, we would recognize with each other where their interests were, what they were getting excited about. If something was dragging on a little too long, for instance, towards the end of the class, we had work days several times in a row, so we just broke away from that and did a drawing lesson, and that ended up being awesome. So they even thanked us for that at the end, the shading experience that you had with the kids.
I think that while all of us planned very thoroughly and really tried to think about what everything was going to happen, we also were prepared in classes to sort of go with the flow.
Yeah.
So when technology, we were using so much technology in my classroom, so when technology failed us, there was times where we had to, all three of us had moments where we had to sort of think on our feet and change the lesson or change something so that we could continue on with the lesson even though it wasn't exactly what we had hoped for. And there was also moments like those I would say we still need experience and we struggled with them, but I think they'll get better and better. And then there were also those moments that all of us did something really brilliant to like change, like for instance, Asia had a student in her class who wanted to learn how to draw an ellipses. And so she realized that a lot of the students wanted to learn how to draw an ellipses, so she did an impromptu lesson on that, and all of the students really learned from that experience, even though she did not have anything prepared on how to draw that.
I had an experience like that when the kids were working on their collages, and I was trying to get them to add more mechanical pieces. So I had cut out a little piece of tinfoil into like the shape of a gear by just folding it in half and then doing the little knobs on it. And one of the kids were like, "How did you do that?" So I just stopped the class and then ended up showing them how to do that. And those showed up in a couple of the collages. That was really fun. The other thing I learned really specifically with this, because of all the preparation we had to do, and like you said, when technology didn't work, was that the good old-fashioned whiteboard or just having a piece of paper or whatever is also, as much as we focus on technology today, it's nice to be prepared with doing something really simplistically in your teaching and just having a white space and modeling basically what you want them to learn.
Have a backup plan.
Backup plan.
Be over-prepared.
Yeah. I think something I really learned was we had this like idea of having our lesson plans where they would draw the blueprint before they created their creature. But I learned because we started making our own creature samples, and I realized that it was way harder to draw a blueprint without having the creature like in front of you. And that was sort of this like learning moment for me, was like, maybe that wasn't like, it's really important to actually make and try out all of your lessons, because things might go differently, and it's very important to actually, for you yourself as a teacher, to do the lesson that you're trying to do, to learn what the experience is and learn what the challenges are going to be. Because I think that's the only way that I could tell them, oh, this is going to be a challenge, or oh, we need to change and switch up the lessons.
Yeah. Like how to keep the parts and pieces together, that kind of thing. Just like Patrick said, it's important for us as art teachers to maintain being artists, so that we have those experiences to actually share with the kids, and we're not just putting together something that we don't know what's going to happen or how it's going to turn out.
Something I know I learned directly from the kids. I mean, I know we're all supposed to be teachers and we teach our information and we're supposed to be the ones giving the knowledge, but no, it's just like they say in school, you will learn so much from your kids, because they will teach you how to manage and how to show them the right way, because way of learning is not the same way you learned how to learn, and you have to change it up, and you have to relearn some new ways of teaching, and you also just learn how incredibly intelligent they are. You can never have an expectation of how intelligent your kids will be until you actually teach them and you realize, wow, they actually know a lot, and you're teaching me things I didn't even know, and it's just a really great opportunity and experience to learn from your kids.
Yeah, if you set the bar high, they're still gonna reach it, which is kind of amazing to me, because I was thinking, oh my goodness, we're gonna have to teach them how to use tools, and this is gonna be too complicated for a 4th grader. They did it. They learned. They were excited to do it, and I think that eagerness, and they were up for the challenge. And I think one of those really amazing things was we got a comment from one of the students was, thank you for teaching us like adults. And I think I was just like, oh my goodness, because that was like so important for us to look at them and say, you're capable, and then they were totally capable. I think the drawing lesson could have been 2 days, I think.
Yeah. Could have added more. They really enjoyed that. Maybe planned it a little bit better. I felt a little, that was the day I had the problem with technology, and I don't know how well the drawing lesson went in that class.
It could have, we should have had like a backup for that one.
Yeah.
But they gathered so much from that lesson. I feel like we should have given them more opportunity to learn from that.
I know, just based on what we got at the very end, after when we were hanging all of the stuff up, that we really needed to, next time if we were to do this again, to really tell our class more about our expectations for the collage, because a lot of the collages were too small, or they were just big but lots of empty spaces, and we didn't really make it clear what our expectations were for the collage and the subject matter, because that was kind of all over the place too. They found pictures they liked and then just pasted it instead of knowing what we intended for them to learn out of it, which was transformation between biological forms and mechanical ones. And I don't know if I think there were some that definitely understood that and took that away, but a good majority got distracted just by the pictures alone, I think, and then lost interest from lecture, because we did talk for a while, and we need to realize that they only have a 10-minute-ish listening span, and we need to cater to that and give them a break, and then come back and say, okay, so what is your goal, and have the class tell you what is the goal. Okay, yes, that is the goal, or no, that is not. Let's go over this again, so that everyone knows exactly what we're doing and what our expectations were and what you should be learning as the student.
I think there was also a student that, for accommodations and modifications, when I look back on it, what I would do differently is maybe be prepared with a few kind of choice images that we cut out ourselves that they could start with, because this particular student also really rose to the bar when he had someone else jump in, another student come in and participate, and then they created this really cool snake at the end when it came to the 3D section, but in the collage I don't think he actually accomplished one. So that would have probably been a way to get him started and focused on it and maybe engage enough to actually complete a collage.
I think one thing also I would want to do differently is how to set up collaboration, because this was one of the first moments when these students were collaborating, and they were super excited to work in a group, but they didn't quite understand what that meant. They didn't quite understand what delegating meant. They didn't understand quite how to share tasks. And while the first part of our lesson 2, when they were deconstructing, we gave them specific jobs, and they had to switch those jobs. After that happened, when they were building the creature, we left it up to them, and I think a lot of them started to struggle with not feeling like their voice was heard, or just not feeling like they knew what they were doing, and getting a little lost. So teaching them how to work in a team, maybe giving them those specific jobs every day and then switching again just to build, because this was their first experience with collaboration.
Right.
And I think that was a big challenge, that I learned a lot about what I would do differently when students are working in groups. Because there was some students that ended up getting their feelings hurt and breaking away from from their groups because they didn't feel like their voice was heard. And that's definitely one of those things that we as teachers will have to deal with in the classroom. And so I think that was a good experience to learn more about.
Yeah, and defining for them what that meant, like you said, because at the end we still don't really know. We came up with a solution because there were several groups that did create a 3D creature together, but if there's 3 of them, then who was going to take the creature home? And so we took individual pictures, and each of the students, got a picture to take home, which the creatures themselves are probably going to fall apart eventually, but how they're going to actually work out who takes that home, we didn't get to actually see that or experience it, and it will be interesting to see if that's something that is kind of a problem. I'd probably want to think about that a little bit more ahead of time.